From WNYC, this is NYC Now. I'm Janae Pierre. Man, this summer has been the longest year ever. Am I right? On today's show, we recap the highs and lows of New York City's hottest season. And I mean that in more ways than one. But before we get into that, here's a few headlines we're keeping eyes on. There's a law in New York State now that prohibits local police from having formal agreements with ICE. Governor Kathy Hochul says the law will help build public trust and protect New Yorkers from aggressive federal immigration enforcement. But some Republicans say the law will hurt public safety because it'll make it harder to coordinate with ICE about immigrants arrested for crimes. Now, this one will likely end up in court as several sheriffs across the state plan to file legal challenges. New York Attorney General Letitia James has already sent subpoenas to several counties that haven't complied with the new law. Speaking of court, New York City housing court judges will fast-track repair cases for tenants living in some dangerous apartment buildings. The arrangement will compel landlords to appear in court within 5 days after tenants allege certain hazardous conditions, like elevator outages or heat and hot water failures. For more on this story, visit our news site, Gothamist. Lucinda's in the East Village was the place to be Tuesday night as New Yorkers mourned the death of country music legend Dolly Parton. The Queen of Country had a special following here in New York City, inspiring everything from limited edition Metro cards to a long-running look-alike contest in Brooklyn. You may have seen the Empire State Building sparkling in pink Tuesday night in her honor. President Trump has ordered flags to be flown at half-staff across the U.S. throughout the remainder of the week. Oh, Dolly, we'll miss you. And I will always love you. There's no summer like a New York City summer. From the Knicks winning the NBA championship to a parasite making folks think twice about eating their greens. It's been a pretty eventful few months. Joining me to recap it all is WNYC's Ryan Kost. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So happy to have you here, Ryan. What's the official start of summer for you?
Gosh, the official start of summer. I guess it's probably like Memorial Day, right? That sort of seems like when things kick off.
That's what it feels like for me.
You
What did you do on Memorial Day?
I honestly can't even remember.
That's a good summer.
It's been so. It feels like this has just like been a never-ending summer.
Yeah.
I'm sure I did something great though.
Yeah, I'm sure you did.
Yeah.
I'm sure you did. You live a fab life.
Totally.
I'm sure you did. Well, this is actually Zohran Mamdani's first summer as mayor.
It sure is.
How's he doing?
Well, I think the review sort of depends on who you ask, I'm sure. But I think that, like, a lot of the folks who were really excited about his election are pretty stoked with his performance so far. I mean, they got their rent freeze.
Right.
And so that's, like, for folks who are signing their leases, what is that? It's after October 1st. So for, like, 1 million people who live in the city-subsidized apartments, they will not have any rent increase. And
for 2 years, right?
Yeah, you can sign for 1 year or for 2 years. I don't know why you would just go with the 1 year, but yeah. So that's,
And he campaigned on that, so that's a pretty big win.
It was really, I think, like, central to his entire campaign. I think that's, like, really when he took off was, like, that Freeze the Rent video. Like, it really sort of captured people's attentions.
Yeah.
He's been making headways on these grocery stores. He's got this pied-à-terre tax that's coming up, although, like, that also has drawn some criticism from folks who say that, like, the rollout was a little bit uneven.
Yeah.
They put this list of folks who could be subject to the tax, and they sent out a bunch of mailers also to people. And a lot of people, I guess, were caught off guard to see that homes that were not second homes were on that list. And so he drew a lot of, like, fire, I guess, for that rollout. And now I think it's also facing some legal challenges, which, there's a lot riding on this. It's like a $500 million in terms of new revenue. So, yeah. Yeah.
And, speaking of legal challenges, I want to go back to the rent freeze because there's a legal challenge there, too, right?
Yes, there is a legal challenge there, too, from some landlords. we'll
expected.
see what, yeah, totally. I mean, they are not particularly happy about this, but I also think because we have had rent freezes somewhat recently, there were rent freezes in 2015, 2016, and 2020.
Right.
So it's not like this never happens. But certainly I think, this idea that this mayor came in promising this, then picked people for the board who would deliver this, I think that all feels to some landlords like, would they have normally come to this decision had they just been looking at the numbers?
So you briefly mentioned Mamdani's announcement about city-owned grocery stores, and I don't want us to skate over that because that was a really big deal.
Right. Yeah, that was another one of the things that captured a lot of attention, I think, during his campaign because it's sort of, it sounds like a little unique. You don't usually hear politicians talking about opening in their own grocery stores.
Yeah.
So we're at a place now where the first one is expected to open by the end of 2027. And the idea is that it will offer 30% discounts on, a certain group of products, including I think pantry basics, meats, milks, that sort of thing. So, yeah, they're looking for somebody or a company that can come in and administer that. They haven't selected that yet, and they have a long list of criteria of things they're looking for. So we'll watch as they do that. That has also faced its own amount of blowback. I think folks who run stores or bodegas in and around those areas where there are going to be these city-run grocery stores are worried that they might get undercut. And then recently I saw somebody from his administration say that they would consider then possibly offering those folks some sort of subsidy to I guess make sure that they aren't too hard hit by these grocery stores. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It seems like there's still a lot, in the works here, but certainly it's moving forward. And yeah. We'll have our eye on that as it does.
For sure. I'm excited to keep eyes on that one.
Yeah.
But a really productive summer for the Mamdani administration.
Yeah, it really seems like it. He seems like he's in good spirits. He opened the public swimming pools by jumping in wearing a suit.
Full suit.
He just went on a nice vacation to upstate New York and started a whole discourse about whether the Catskills were upstate. I'll let listeners debate that on their own time. Yeah.
So we talked about what marks the official start of summer. And I guess we can all agree that the opening of beaches, that's the official start of summer here in New York City. And, Ryan, each year here, it seems like officials are warning us of a lifeguard shortage. But that doesn't seem like it was the case this year.
No, yeah. There had been for several years, people will remember during the Adams administration that they were constantly struggling to find people to fill these roles. And as a result, we would see beaches and public pools would have limited hours. And, that doesn't sound, I'm sure, like the biggest crisis in the world. But when you think about a New York summer, it gets so hot here and there are very few places to go and cool down. So the public swimming pools, which are a huge point of pride for New Yorkers, I think, I don't know of any other city that has this sort of swimming infrastructure. And the beaches, of course, you need access to these things. But starting last year, the city actually was ramping up this hiring. And then this year, we're doing even better than last year. And we just didn't see that sort of issue again, which I think probably makes a lot of New Yorkers very happy.
Yeah, so no lifeguard shortage. However, dun, 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 dun,
sharks.
dun, dun,
Yeah.
dun, dun.
We had a lot of sharks.
Yeah,
it
for
turns
sure.
out. Yeah, so we've been monitoring sharks using drones since 2022. And this summer, the Rockaway swimming was limited 23 times.
And that's a lot.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's the most since we've started looking at this, using that sort of technology.
Well, one thing I will say that caught my attention, and I caught on to this quickly, was this summer's weather pattern. It was extremely hot, and then here comes flash flood warnings and all this rain. What's up with that?
All I can say is that before I moved here 4 years ago, I guess I just did not have any sense of how truly terrible the weather is in New York during the summer. I grew up in Arizona, but I'm not I don't love to sweat. And it finally made sense why I would always see my friends who lived in New York trying to sublet their apartments for July through August.
No,
and I was always what is going on?
Yeah.
Where are they going? They're going anywhere else.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was a very hot and wet summer. We don't have official figures on how it stacked up in terms of heat. But we do know that the July heat wave, which happened right around the 4th, was particularly brutal. There were multiple days over 100. So Yeah, I mean, it's been a hot one, and it really hasn't like let up. I can't tell you the number of times I've like, been out on an assignment and I'm like just so desperate to get into a subway car with some AC.
Yeah. And then you're on the one and it's hot.
Exactly. No, I know. You think you see a perfect car, but the reason it's perfect is because there's no cooling on it. And there's no one in there. Yeah, totally. But the wet part is also true. There have been like just so many storms this summer. And actually, I looked this up right before we started, but apparently this is the wettest August in the past 5 years. So it's not just in our heads. Mm-hmm. And, we know too that weather patterns are changing. So it's always rained a lot in New York, but now we're seeing these like flash flooding events where we just get like so much water in such a short amount of time that our systems like literally can't take it all in. Like our pipes aren't big enough. We don't have enough like soil to absorb it. Also, instead, we see like waterfalls in the subway stations. We see geysers like when the manhole covers are popping off. Yeah. Yeah. And it can also be like very dangerous, of course, especially for people living in basement apartments, But yeah, it's sort of the new normal. And I think that's like a conversation we'll probably be having as we move forward.
Every year.
Because, how do we turn the city into a sponge? I think is a big question that we're going to be facing as we deal with a new climate.
Yeah. The heat, the rain, but we can't forget about the smoke.
Right, the smoke, yeah. There's also that.
I thought for the longest that it was my fault because one of my summer highlights, I was able to spend some time in Canada. And as soon as I came back, there was the wildfire smoke.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dang, did I do that?
I mean, it's crazy because it really does show you just how massive these wildfires are, that they could put off so much smoke that it makes its way like hundreds of miles over to us. And it's still like just so palpable. Like you can really like just smell it.
No, I really needed a mask.
Yeah, for sure. And this one was pretty bad too. The smoke was, we had some of the worst AQI like ratings in years. Yeah. So it was a rough one. I definitely saw a lot of people wearing their masks. It definitely had that sort of like post-apocalyptic feel for a couple of days. Also, don't forget about the tornadoes. We had a tornado.
A real one. An actual tornado. Yeah. This is not a headline from The Onion. We had a real tornado.
It was not just warnings of a tornado. It's an actual tornado out on Long Island.
I'm here recapping the summer with WNYC and Gothamist reporter Ryan Kost. After the break, we talk about this summer's biggest highlight for New Yorkers, the New York Knicks. Stay close. Welcome back to NYC Now. I'm Janae Pierre, talking with WNYC and Gothamist reporter Ryan Kost. And we're discussing this summer's highlights. Ryan, with all of that behind us, I think we can all agree that the city's biggest moment this summer was probably the Knicks winning the NBA championship, right?
Yes.
I will tell you, probably the best night of my life. And I wasn't on the court. Where were you when the Knicks won?
I don't think you're alone in that feeling. So I also work as like a server at a bar in Prospect Heights. Mm-hmm. And so I was serving on quite a few of the nights when they were playing these championship games. And a lot of the people I work with are native New Yorkers. And like they like just to see the sheer excitement on their faces or like whenever like we would win a game, it was like so infectious. And I don't watch a ton of sports, but like I was, glued in. I was like, okay, I'm down. I love this. I'm so excited for you guys because like they've been, waiting their entire lives for this, literally their entire lives for this. And it was just, the bar would fill up. We'd be packed. We'd only be selling like beers basically with just everybody like all facing the TV that we had installed just for these games.
It was really, really a great moment, a great streak, right? Because as you mentioned, like it just kept building up. And then it felt like it was something that could happen. Yeah. And when it finally did on that lovely, lovely summer night, well, I have to say this. Technically, it wasn't summer.
Is that true?
Technically, it was not summer. It was, I believe, the Knicks won on June 13th. First day of summer is June 20-something.
That's crazy.
But, I mean, we were out in the streets all night.
Yeah.
Everyone was together dancing, having fun. I'd say that's all you need to solidify a New York City summer night,
No,
right?
100%. I remember we had to shut the front door of the bar because one of the other bars across the street, like their stream was like a few seconds ahead of ours. So like we could hear when they were, and like we didn't want it spoiled on our side.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Yeah, but it was just a really great moment.
I remember before watching the Knicks game, we were also out watching one of the World Cup games. And we can't forget about that. Like the World Cup actually really good summer vibes, right?
Yeah, no, totally. The World Cup turned out great, it turns out. I think, we were really waiting to see how everything would work out with this New York, New Jersey stadium that was definitely just in New Jersey.
Right. We put our name on it.
Totally, yeah. Rebrand. But no, I mean, New Jersey Transit was able to handle the extra load.
Yeah.
The tickets, still sold well, even though they were pretty
expensive.
Yeah, totally. Not quite as expensive as the Knicks. I reported on that, and I think they got up to like $11,000 for like just getting in the door.
So it was cheaper to go to the World Cup?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. The World Cup was, not inexpensive.
Right.
$7,000, above that even. So, and maybe, I don't know what the final prices for the final game was, but yeah, it's a very expensive sporting summer. Yeah.
For sure. And just want to shout out, Spain beat Argentina, and man, the city was going wild. But the most beautiful part, I believe, of the World Cup was seeing all these immigrant communities come together, right?
Totally, yeah. One of the reporters at WNYC and Gothamist, Arya Sundaram, actually went out to each of the immigrant enclaves to see how it was going. She wrote that it was a respite from immigration anxieties and rising xenophobia, along with an opportunity to publicly and proudly embrace their heritage amid turmoil in the United States and abroad. So yeah, it was a nice way to sort of not think about a lot of heavy stuff.
And, if I had to guess, I'd say that the World Cup was probably Mayor Mamdani's highlight as well.
He seems so into it. And he even had like the city created these special World Cup jerseys.
Don't get me started on these jerseys. I didn't get one, and I'm so bummed.
I'm so
even
sorry.
after the second round, I'm so bummed about that. But yes, the city released these special World Cup New York City jerseys. They're fresh, 3 different colors.
They're cute.
They're so cute.
Have you seen one out in the wild?
I've seen plenty out in the wild.
The World Cup was where he started doing this thing where he would secure a certain amount of tickets and sell them to New Yorkers at like a...
Tried to do that too.
Yeah.
I'm just not a lucky girl like this.
There's a lot of us and only, a limited supply. But yeah.
Yeah.
He tried to make it the people's game. And he, we also had like extended hours for playing soccer in the parks. There were like a lot of just, little watching areas. He held some over on Governor's Island. And then, yeah, same thing as with the Knicks. You could just like go around and there would just be games on in sort of like any place, whether it was like hanging up on the side of a barber shop or like in an alleyway or whatever it was, like suddenly everywhere, was a place to watch these games.
Yeah, and shout out to FIFA as well. I know they had a lot to do with setting up a lot of these watch parties, collaborating with the city. So shout out to FIFA as well. I have to say, I ended up at a World Cup fan zone while I was in Canada. And that was really cool, just to see them pop up all over the place. So yeah, definitely. Also, I don't mean to bring up someone who's not a New Yorker, but it was big New York City news. Weekend Palooza.
Yes.
That's what Swifties went crazy.
Yeah, we called it Weekend Palooza. We called it Weekendageddon.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, so this is the July 4th weekend. We were in the midst of a pretty heinous heat wave. Plus, Taylor Swift shut down Midtown for her wedding. And then we also had, the World Cup. The World Cup was still going on.
Yeah.
We had the 4th of July. And this is a big one, our 250th. And so it was just a lot was going on in the city. And it was all converging on the same few days.
Yeah.
Yeah, it felt like peak summer a little bit. Like this was like... If you could like sort of sum up what New York summer was like in a single weekend, it was like...
That was definitely
just so much all at once. But yeah, we made it through. Adam Sandler was the officiant at Taylor Swift's wedding.
I heard that. I just wonder what he wore.
I don't know. I was so sad that there wasn't like a red carpet or something, because I was like, I wanted to see what people were like wearing.
But
I wanted
there are
like another
still
Met
no
Gala.
photos out.
I know.
Like I still haven't seen anything
Well,
from
I
this
think
wedding.
that's why she did it at MSG, was because it is, it's a place that you can really lock down in terms of security. And I think that was obviously very important to her. I mean, she is like one of the most watched people on the planet. And so, I guess you have to go to extraordinary lengths to get some privacy when you're as rich and famous as she is.
Yeah, and the city made a little coin off of that, too.
Yes, for sure. Mamdani actually said that the city paid, or that the couple had paid an extra $160,000 toward police overtime as part of the wedding arrangements.
Yeah.
And I keep thinking about, I have been thinking about the NYPD a lot this summer because they've been working some very long hours out there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Crowd control and everything. Yeah.
Shout out to the NYPD, the men and women in blue who protect us all. Thank you. Please show grace whenever, if ever. Seriously, though, Ryan, this summer wasn't all fun and games. Unfortunately, the summer took an abrupt turn after the Legionnaires outbreak, and I believe that first case was announced on the 4th of July weekend on the Upper East Side. Can we talk a bit about that?
Yes, I think people remember this from last summer as well. We had an outbreak in Harlem that killed multiple people. This summer's was actually even more deadly. 9 people have died from Legionnaires on the Upper East Side. And then nearly 100 people were made sick, 70 of whom were hospitalized as well.
Yeah.
And it's a situation that New York has dealt with for a long time. Legionella is this bacteria. It can multiply in our cooling towers, which are those towers that you'll see on buildings that help with like the cooling systems. And basically they spray out this like fine mist as they're cooling buildings, and the Legionella can live in this mist. And so if you are around these buildings as it's doing this and you inhale it, then you are potentially opening yourselves up to contracting Legionnaire's disease, which is, a form of pneumonia, a really tough form of pneumonia. And it's really sad. 9 people died as a result of that this summer.
It was really sad. We were able to do a deep dive on that and the outbreak last summer on a recent episode of NYC Now. So check your queue and take a listen to that. But we were able to really dig into like what causes this and the staffing that needs to happen for it not to happen again.
Yeah, I listened to that episode. It was a great episode.
Thank you.
But the city council was not obviously very happy with how the city performed during this outbreak. I think we'd hoped that because last year's was such a high toll already that we would be like better prepared to avoid something like this moving forward. The one change that we did see, though, is the Mamdani administration published positive testing addresses for the first time. So we know some of the facilities that tested positive for this. But victims are obviously also unhappy, and it just looks like the city has suffered from a lack of personnel to really enforce the mechanisms that they need to in order to prevent this sort of thing.
Yeah. And Legionnaires wasn't the only outbreak hitting New York City. All of a sudden, it became hot diarrhea summer.
I really hate that name. But
we did put it in a headline. I'm sure Meg Thee Stallion does as well. But can we agree that cyclosporiasis was the true villain this summer?
I mean, yeah. As we've reported, it can cause, well, you already said it, diarrhea, explosive bowel movements, nausea, abdominal cramping, and it can last for up to a month.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess 374 New Yorkers were diagnosed with this between May 1st and July 9th, which is about 3 times more than what we saw last year.
This was no joke. I mean, I haven't had cyclosporiasis, but I have had norovirus. And if it is anything like norovirus, God be with you all.
I do have to say, though, I feel very bad for those 374 New Yorkers.
Yeah.
But that's 0.0042% of the city's total population. So I never stopped eating lettuce.
Oh, you never stopped?
No.
Okay, well, you enjoy your salad.
I'm still eating salad.
Good for you.
Thank you. But wash your produce.
Definitely.
Yeah.
3 times.
Right.
3 times.
Very, very strenuously.
Yeah. Well, summer's wrapping up, Ryan, and it is indeed wrapping up with a bang. I mean, I've talked at length with everyone about the Jamaica Day Parade, and that came out of nowhere. That was something that I was not expecting this summer, and this was the city's first time pulling it off. But with that in mind, I mean, that's leading up to something that well, you don't look forward to, but that's the West Indian Day Parade.
It's not that I don't look forward to it. I think it is very cool. It's just like the crowds are massive. I mean, have you ever been down to Crown Heights during this?
Yes.
It's like packed shoulder to shoulder.
Yes.
I mean, yes, like it takes some like effort to like move through the crowds.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's super exciting, and like everybody is just so joyful. There's so much good food. You know, the outfits, the costumes are like crazy beautiful, like so intricate. But yeah, that's coming up on Labor Day weekend, and that to me is like sort of like the closer of like, you know, your summer a little bit.
Yeah.
We also have the U.S. Open. Don't forget that. That is, you know, that just started with Fan Week, and will last for the next few weeks, and that is also expected to draw tons of people to Queens.
Are you going to go to the U.S. Open?
Maybe if I get one of those tickets that Mamdani is giving away for $100. I think there's 1,000 of them, so he's like replaying his World Cup.
I'll give this a try as well, you know. One thing I do enjoy is a Mamdani lottery.
Yeah, totally.
And the day I win one, you all will know.
Oh, I'm sure. It'll be breaking news.
Yeah.
We'll send out a push alert.
That's WNYC's Ryan Kost. Thanks so much for joining me, Ryan.
Thank you so much for having me.
And we'll talk more about the U.S. Open and other end-of-summer events next time on NYC Now. So please do join us. I'm Janae Pierre. See you next time.